Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you're doing well. Please let me know if you can hear me. I think everything should be in order, but I like to be certain. So, Bitcoin and actually the whole crypto market is currently in a big downfall. As far as I know, there really is no particular news that is the cause of this. However, on the TA side of things, it is very clear what's happening here. I just want to go and dissect this so that we understand what's going on. And in order to do that, I'm just going to draw my descending triangle, which I will mark in blue, bright blue. Let me check. This blue should be good. There we are. So I've marked the descending triangle in blue. As we know, a descending triangle is a pattern that has a tendency to break to the downside. Now, as we can see, this actually happened today. And I just want to go over to a little bit of a shorter time frame to the 1 hour so we can see what happened here. Ever since the 21st of September, we have been creating a symmetric triangle, which we can see here in red. We stayed in this triangle for about 50 days. And today, the day has come that we finally break down. Now, when we did so, we had an extremely violent breakdown. I'm not quite sure why this was so violent. All I know is that we completely busted all supports. We broke through the triangle support that we have here, and until now there really has been no particular bounce whatsoever. Because we have broken down here, we're gonna have to look for some targets. And in order to do that, we're gonna have to look into the history of Bitcoin. I always say look left for clues. And there really isn't a whole lot that we can go off here, but there are some levels that are really important and that might serve as support. Now, the first one we have here is 4,972. This support was set on the 1st of September 2017 and has never really been retested after that. So personally, I would consider this a weak support, although it is there. But I do not really think that the chance of reversing here is very likely. Next, we have 3020 USD. This support has actually been tested several times, and I think that if we are going to go into an extended bear market, this could really serve as a very good support. Now, I would personally not recommend to, go all in, go short here right now, and disregard all the rules and just take your position. There is actually a way that we are able to play this. How I'm personally going to play this, I will explain this right now. When a support is broken, 9 out of 10 times it is going to be retested. Basically what that means is that we have broken this support, which I have marked in blue. We made a significant move down, but of course there has to be some kind of reaction from the bulls. So what I'm waiting for right now is to set an actual bottom, at least a short-term bottom. And we can spot this bottom several ways. I will post this in our Discord, but once I see it, I'm going to drag my Fibonacci over it. And what I'm going to do is aim for the 618. The 618 is usually the level you want to look at after a significant breakdown or a breakup. So in short, let's say that we have now found the bottom. I don't think it's the case, but just say that it might be. Then I drew my Fibonacci over this entire move, and I will put my target at 5,993. This is the level I would start stacking shorts. A small side note, because this drop is so violent, I expect that it could really throw off a lot of people, and the bounce might not be as as violent as we would want it to be. Therefore, the O5 is also a level 1500 where I would stack some shorts. I wouldn't play with too much leverage right now because we have made a 12% move today, which even for Bitcoin principles is really large. It's a huge move. It doesn't happen very often. So there is a ton of volatility right now. Now, obviously, very important to understand that this is crypto. Anything can happen. So we're going to have to play with a tight stop loss. Now, for the stop loss, it's really simple for me. I would put this up here. If we play with low leverage, we have some room to move our stop loss to the upside. And I would personally set it at 6,127 USD. So in short, I'm not taking any position right now. I'm waiting for the market to at least get some rest, get a bit of consolidation, and move forward from there. Then I will start stacking shorts at 5,900, 5,990, and my stop loss will be at 6,100. Let me check for comments, blah, blah, blah. Lots of comments. Hey, Alex, nice to see you here. Not really any questions apart from, are you still in your Lux position? Yes, I'm still in my Lux position. No reason to chart it. This is an FA choice of mine, and I will actually keep that position. So that's pretty much my play for Bitcoin. Obviously, it is very important to wait for the daily close. This will tell us more as to where we might be headed. But that should only take 4 more hours. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see where we close the day. Now the alt market, starting with Bitcoin Cash. I think Roger Ver is having a really rough day today. And the reason I'm putting up Bitcoin Cash has I do have a very good reason, and I'm gonna come up to that in a moment. Bitcoin Cash took a massive hit today. I believe it dropped close to 40% over the past 1 or 2 days. And the reason I bring this up is very simple. People often say, like, just buy the top 10 alts, keep them somewhere, and you're going to be all right. But that's not the case. Every year, we see top 10 alts disappear, and we see new alts appear. So that whole strategy, that whole thing doesn't fly. And the reason I'm bringing up Bitcoin Cash is because this is a very good example. It's been here in the top 10 for a very long time, and right now it appears that it's just gonna continue here. And I don't know. Obviously, I'm not making any predictions whatsoever. But the end of the bear market is often characterized by the top 10 alts changing. Alts will disappear out of the top 10, new alts will come up. And that's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes for the past 4 years. And that's the way it will go this year. So, even for Ethereum, things haven't really been looking good. And I really did have a lot of good feelings about alts lately. But as it appears right now, I might have been wrong, which is perfectly fine. Every trader is wrong sometimes. Perfect traders who are always right don't exist. You can only find those in fairy tales. So what I mean to say by this is that the bear market might be extended for a bit. This is not really an issue, because we have to realize that the last bear market lasted twice as long as the bear market we're currently in, 2014, 2015. And that's perfectly fine. The only thing we should care about is volatility, and we're finally getting that, so that's great. So for ETH, my game is still exactly the same. I have marked this buy level here, ranging from 0.024 Bitcoin all the way up to 0.033 Bitcoin. This is still the level I'm going to stack my buys. This is still the level I'm aiming for to, get my new positions, etc., etc. And as of now, not much has changed actually. We're still, a good long range away from this final support here. And I think that we will just be lounging around in this area right here for the next couple of days, weeks. Which brings us to the alt strategy. As of now, personally, I am not trading alts on the short term. Some people would consider trading alts on the short term a good thing, might be a good thing for them, but given that Bitcoin already has so much volatility, and I mean like 10% drop in one day, which is huge, alts are gonna have even more volatility. And volatility is fine, that's what we live for, that's what pays our bills, but you can also have too much volatility. And I think that's what's happening right now with alts. So I'm just gonna stick with my long-term positions for now. I still believe that Ethereum will consolidate in this range, and I still believe that eventually we're gonna go for this resistance right here. Do we have any requests, by the way? If you have a request, just post it, and I will try to answer it. But sorry, a little bit sick lately for the past 2 days. So in short, no short-term positions for me. Just gonna wait this one out. I've got some buys stacked. Obviously, my buys hit all the way up to 0.027 Bitcoin. My buys on the bottom range here are not filled. They're still open. And, I would really like to see those filled. That would be really, really nice. So that's it for Ethereum for now. Let's see. Hey, Miss Bitcoin, Crypto Michael, do you have a day trade Jeffrey take on nowadays? I remember you have a crypto ed take on right? So good to see. Welcome. Next request is for BAT, Basic Attention Token. This is one of those coins that I personally do not have a lot of interest in right now. This might change, but this is just one of those, lounging around coins. It's never really mooned pretty hard. It's never really dumped pretty hard. Over the last year, it's just been lounging in the same area. And what I'm looking for Basic Attention Token is to finish this wedge. This wedge has been going on for a year now, which is a pretty long time. So I personally suspect that if it breaks out, it's going to be a good one. But as long as it doesn't really have my interest, and I will not be trading it. If you're a swing trader, however, this is the perfect coin for you. We've got our support here, we've got our resistance here. Personally, I would widen this up just a little bit. And let me grab my parallel channel. I would mark this as my buying range. I would mark this right here as my selling range. And if you're a swing trader, this would be very, very good. I would just stack some buys on the lower ranges right here. If they don't get hit, it doesn't matter because you will not have made any losses. And the benefit of this is that if your buys get hit in the buying range and it does break support here, you can simply put your stop loss just below the support line. And if that gets hit, you're out of the trade with minimal losses. However, if the trade performs as expected, you can be up, approximately 100%. So that's definitely a good risk to reward ratio right there. Well, I asked you if you had a day trade Jeffrey Tekranche. Curious about that. So yeah, that's how I would play Basic Attention Token. And it's not really my thing, so personally I'm not playing this, but it could make a really, really good strategy here. Next one is Storm. I remember Storm caught a lot of attention on Twitter about a month ago, and as expected, sadly, didn't really work so well. Storm for me is 100% a no-go. Like I wouldn't be touching this at all. One could consider a consolidation range ranging from 94 satoshis all the way up to 160 satoshis. Once again, this could make a good game for swing traders, but that's not my game. That's not what I do. And realistically, now that the whole market is going to I wouldn't say going to shit, but it's not looking too great, right? I think there's a realistic chance of Storm just continuing this downtrend right here and go for lower lows. That would mean price discovery. That would mean we have no data on the left side to work off, which means that for me, it's not very interesting. Mm-mm-mm. Can I discuss ICX? Of course. I can definitely do that. There we go. ICX, Icon, kind of the same story, right? It's lounging right on support. This support is currently sitting at 773 satoshis. And once again, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this support here gets breached, which would mean also price discovery, no data to work off. So it's not interesting for me. Personally, I wouldn't be buying this, and I can't really give you any targets whatsoever at this point for Icon. Mm-mm. What I can say is that if this range holds, and I'm just gonna mark this for you, if this range right here holds, doesn't get breached, then it might be producing a descending triangle, which are prone to break out on the downside. However, they also have a chance to break out on the top side, in which case you could consider a long with a target of 0.0002 bitcoins. Once again, be very careful with your longs right now. The market is in quite a heavy dip. And considering that we just broke that major support for Bitcoin, there's no telling as to whether we will recover anytime soon. Excuse me. Next request, Ripple. I'm not a really huge fan of Ripple myself, but that being said, I do have to admit that Ripple is holding up quite nicely on this dump. Let me just remove this real quick. There we go. A couple of weeks ago, we did manage to break the 236. We retested it successfully, and it appears as though Ripple is actually going to hold above this level. Coincidentally, it corresponds with 6666. Not that it means anything, but if Ripple manages to consolidate above the first Fibonacci level and does not breach the support right here anymore, then I wouldn't really be surprised if we manage to hit the target of 10,000 satoshis. Realistically, I see this happening, even though we are right now possibly entering the extended bear market. Considering that most of the alts took a hit for, close to 10, 12%, and Ripple doesn't really seem to care at this point. So what you can do here is, and let me just get this right. Fuck. There. Grab your fib. As you can see, we have retested the 618 right here, which is considered the strongest Fibonacci level. What you can do if you really are into Ripple, you like it, you think it's great, is start your long here, put your targets on the 1272, and then if I take my long position tool right here, just pop your stop below the 618. This would give you a risk reward ratio of 4, which is, pretty good, not bad at all. Small side note, the stop loss really is important right now because, as I've said, the market is possibly entering a second bearish trend, and there's no telling as to whether what will happen. So that's, how I would personally play this. Let's see, Claiborne Taylor, XRP has good fundamentals. Could be true, but personally, if I'm trading off fundamentals, I go for long-term positions, 1 year, 2 year, and I don't go for, positions that I'm only going to keep for a couple days. It doesn't make sense. That's the difference between investing and trading. Investors, they look at the fundamentals, they look at what can this instrument do in the future, and they will just hold that for years if they have to. Traders, however, personally, I don't know anyone that I would consider a trader that will hold a position for 2 years. That would be more on the investing side. So that's my game here. That's how I would play this. I'm not playing this myself, but if you consider it, this is how you could do it. Hey Rick, how are you doing, man? Good to see you here. Very good to see you here, in fact. Hope you're doing well. Gravy as well. Nice to see you, Gravy. So yeah, basically that's what's going on right now. Very not pleased to see this happening. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have to be in a regression, in a bear trend for the next year, but I do believe that the chance of that happening has significantly increased when we breach the support, because you have to realize that we put in this support all the way back at November 2017. Then we tested it in February, we tested it in June, we tested it in August, September, October, and now we finally broke down. Okay, so it's not like this is just a small deal. This is very, very important. And what else is important to understand is that it doesn't matter. If you're a trader, you can make money in both directions as long as you're on the proper side of things. And I try to be that. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. Obviously, if you have any questions, make sure to hit me up on Twitter. Make sure to hit me up on Discord. I'm always there for you. And I will see you guys on the inside. Thanks.